You are tuning into Engaging Walk. This week we will discuss strategies for success in visualizing your dreams. If you are new to the podcast, my name is Drake.
And my name is Rubie. We are passionate about building strong family connections.
We've seen how impactful a simple walk can be. So don't forget to subscribe to our podcast to stay up to date. All right, so today we're going to be discussing two big topics. One is going to be strategies for success in visualizing your dreams. And then later on, we're going to be reflecting on this past year of 2023 and the lessons that we learned as a couple and new goals that we have going into the new year and beyond.
Nice. All the good stuff. Let's get going.
Okay, yeah. So this year, 2023, was a really impactful year, not just for our family, but all around the world. So many big things happened in 2023 for so many different people. So we thought it would be a great idea to dive into that and talk a little bit about what it means to visualize your dreams, your goals. So this is actually going to be a one part of about 4 that we're going to do for vision in general. So this is the, like, in a sense, the building blocks of that vision of what strategies do we have for success and how do we visualize our dreams? Because first, before we achieve it, we have to, in a certain sense, at least have an idea or a visualization of what that looks like. And when you have a partner, whether it be your spouse or your fiance, girlfriend, and you or boyfriend, and you are building up into that, you want to clue each other in as to what your dreams are and dream together, so that when that time comes, you are dreaming together and you're on the same page.
I couldn't, agree even more with that. It's very solid. And yes, communication is one of the big, thing for a relationship to thrive. And sure, yes, the visualizing dreams is very powerful for a person entering into the success or like reaching the success, because without visualizing, it becomes vague. But then when you're able to visualize, you pretty much almost achieving that goal, and that success is right there. You just put some more effort in. But like Drake mentioned, for this month, January 2024, we will dive really deep into visions, and we hope that as a couple, we enter into, dive deep down into vision for this year. We hope that whatever that we take away will help you as well for your 2024. So let's get going with that. Let's talk about strategy for success. For me, strategy for success is really start with the thought. It's in our mind. And I remember I learned, one of the course called Character First, if you are familiar with that. It's a cycle. It starts with a thought in the mind. And the more you think about it, thinking about it, visualize about it, how you want to achieve it. Then one day the thought will form into an action as you spend time and ponder on that thought. And because of the action, it's slowly, repeated action is forming to a habit. And a lot of research mentioned that, a habit formed with a thought, and it's usually take for like either 3 weeks all the way to like 90 days that to form new habit. And through that, you keep doing that. And from forming new habit, you can start seeing like what can I improve, and it go back to a thought again. So that become a cycle of creating new pathway of new habits. And for me, that is my personal strategy for success. Because if I cannot think about it or visualize I'm doing it, it's very hard to capture that thought.
Yeah, I think as Rubie was discussing that and giving her thoughts on what success means for her and how she visualizes a dream, and once that visualization becomes more clear, she has something that she can act on. And it made me think about my youth as a skateboarder when I was skateboarding. And I would encourage anybody that hasn't had spent any time with around skateboarders or ever seen any videos of a professional skateboarder and how they approach a new obstacle. So oftentimes what you'll see is the skateboarder approaches, and it's usually like a handrail or a ledge or a massive set of stairs, something that they've never done this obstacle before. And they don't just throw themselves over it initially. What they do is they approach and they stop, and then they approach and they stop. And they're almost like psyching themselves up. But at the same time, what they're doing is they're visualizing not just how they would go about doing the trick, but what would they do if things didn't go well? Oh, at this point, I could jump off here. At this point, I can do this. At that point, I can do this. Usually at that point, what you'll see is them put their skateboards like onto the rail or over the stairs and just walking down, up and down, getting a visualization of what it's going to look like when they're actually doing it. Because they don't want to get hurt. No one wants to get hurt doing it, but they have certain visualization techniques that they're going over in their mind. You'll see a lot of professional athletes do this too. They'll stand out in the field before the game and get an idea of like what their surroundings are, and that way they acclimate themselves better to what is about to transpire. And a lot of like what Rubie is saying is just on a very personal level. So just like how the skateboarder will visualize all the different things that are going to be happening and getting a better sense of how to approach it, we can do that in our personal lives with our big dreams and our big goals. But of course, like she was saying, is we also want to make them like smaller and more digestible so that they get formed into habits. As they get formed into habits, then we have something that we can build on and continue to move and progress forward.
Yeah, because when I mentioned about, like I think previous episode talking about the recap of 2023, we encourage you, later on we would dive deep into that. But right now, like just connections between this episode and the previous one, we mentioned about let's look back into 2023 and we'll see what is that we need to work on. Again, this is your year, is not somebody else, and it's going to be powerful if we ourselves take a moment and recap and see for ourselves, because people will very good at telling us what to do, and again, being powerful person, being is owning that. Just a moment before we Drake and I look into our goal for 2023, and we had to be really honest to the things that did we make this year, or where are we for 2024?
Yeah, I think another thing that kind of made us not accomplish as many goals is we put a lot of ands in there. Mm-hmm. So I think so for example, we put spend time with God in Yosemite, Joshua Tree, and Sequoia. Now I checked it off because we went, as many of you probably know, to Yosemite and Sequoia, but however, we did not go to Joshua Tree. So those all binded together into one statement. However, if I had just written that as spend time with God in Yosemite, separate bullet for Joshua Tree, and then a separate one for Sequoia, well, we would have been,
have that checked.
Yeah, we would have had two of those checked, and then one of them we didn't get to do. Now, so I think that is something that you can also keep in mind, is don't bind so many of them together. Make them separate, so that way it's way more satisfying to be able to check something off than to like kind of put a little asterisk next to it. Like, yeah, we did 1, 2, and 3, but we didn't get to do 4. Put those separately so that you have greater satisfaction in knowing, like, yes, we actually did accomplish at least 75% of the things that we aim to do.
Yeah, before dived into the past year, I just want to have a little bit more on the strategy for success and visualizing your dreams. And so I encourage you, and which is Drake and I will do, in January, also like later on today, that we will look into our 2023. What do we want to become at the end of 2024? How does it look like? And start visualizing it. And again, different people have different ways to visualize it. Some people like they visual learner, so they can, either draw it out or looking at the picture. I know some of my friends, they have a sick apps girl on their screen, and because it's like, oh, and I was like, that's kind of creepy. What happened? What's going on? And she said, no, I just that is just my motivation to get sick apps like that girl. So depends on what kind of person you are. Like could be visual, audio. You can listen to, a certain podcast that pump you up, or, like, oh, that's what I want to be. That's, gym goer, a chef for the family, whatever that you want to become in 2024. Put it in that and visualize it by listening to it, look at it. It could be like handwriting, notes, encouragement, and even if you're good at drawing or you love drawing, draw it, because sometimes drawing speaks so much more towards certain people. Like I do some painting. It's not that great, but like whenever I look at that, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember the journey of that drawing, and I learned so much from that, and have a lot of weight toward me. So do you, whatever that help you to visualize your dreams. I encourage you to do it, and just take maybe a couple weeks or to really sit down and have that moment between connections between you and yourself, and do it. Because I'm sure that as we spend time on strategy and visualizing it, we're gonna have a good start in 2024.
Yeah, there's a lot to that. I'd say also, to wrap things up with visualizing your dreams and your strategies for success is it helps to sort of like break them down into different categories. So if you have, like for us in our family, we have fitness goals, finance goals, faith, and then family goals, goals that we have specifically for us and our family. Now, these are also going to be different than like your own personal goals. So, like for me and Rubie, we have them broken off into different, like for each of us. But there's always going to be a lot of overlap, especially when we get into the areas of like finance and family and faith. Fitness is like, we can motivate each other to do fitness together, but you know, what I take into my body and what she takes into her body is like we have different bodies. So, there's only so much that there's a lot that we can do to motivate each other and to work out together. And a lot of couples do that, which is, such a great thing. But, that speaks more to like your individual goals that you have for your own fitness. So always keep that in mind as well. So that if you are like, okay, well, my number one goal is to be, to lose 50 pounds. And I want to lose 50 pounds and be, this weight. And, so, but that's a great goal. And then, obviously break that up into chunks, break that up into, more smaller parts, but don't neglect finance and faith. And then you can also, or even family or other areas that are important to you. For example, if you are really passionate about your work and your career, don't neglect all of those things just for the sake of this one that you are really really going into. And also keep in mind that a lot of these might actually be intertwined. So, for example, fitness and finance might actually be like tied together. Are you spending too much money on fast food and junk food and vending machine stuff and going out to eat? That could be affecting your fitness and can also be affecting your finance. So always keep those things in mind. Like, hey, I might be killing two birds with one stone. And then even like with faith, if you're like, oh, you know what, I really want to fast. Fasting has a lot of really great health benefits, and that's something that I wish that I had done more of this year. Ruby really couldn't have because, of like, pregnancy and whatnot. But yeah, so think about also ways that you can bridge those different areas together and tackle multiple fronts of your goals in one or two simple actions.
And we will put on the another worksheets and resources, free resources for you guys. If you guys interested in, have the the template from us, we will put it on our website, engagingwhat.com, so you can go there and download whatever that you feel that it fit for your 2024 vision. Yeah.
All right, so with that, we are going to be reflecting on this past year, lessons that we learned, and new goals for the future. So these might be applicable to you. They might be like, hey, that was exactly what my goal was. They might be a little bit different, but this is going to, at the very least, model what it looks like for how we did it, so that you can either make some adjustments on your own, make it your own, and move forward with that going into the new year. So like I said, we had broken our family goals into 4 areas. One was fitness, finance, faith, and family. So in terms of fitness, I did not do well. My goal was to lose a certain amount of weight. I won't tell you how much, and get down to 170 pounds by the end of 2023. And I did not make that goal at all. I was also not that good about drinking water this year. So I'm sure those two would have gone together if I had been more diligent about drinking water every day, exercising. Then my weight would have probably been closer on track than it is right now.
So again, I was pretty good with exercising until pregnancy threw me off. So I'm trying my best to get back on that. And we did pretty well on financing. Like, that is the category that we hold all the checks, which is great job. Pat on the shoulder. And faith, we did pretty much a big chunk of it. And family, we did, I think, pretty much some of it. And then we, at the end of the list, we realized, oh, there's a really good idea that we could do as a family, and we need to do it, as soon as possible before the babies come. So
Yeah, that was a really good one to discover to rediscover. Yeah, and then like Ruby was saying, for finance, we met almost all of our goals, which was amazing. And yeah, a lot of that was also due, for couples out there, was due to us working together very, very diligently every week. That was, finance is one of those things where it's like your lifeblood of your family. Like, it's not important in and of itself, but it is important in the sense that, for example, like for me, it doesn't matter how much money we have in the bank as a number. What matters is that we have resources that we can go to when we need them. So, we're not spending money. As a couple, we both have a very similar outlook on life, that we don't really care about flashy things. We don't care about name brands. We don't care about, all those different clout sort of things. But what we do care about is getting quality products that are as inexpensive as we can get, and making the most of our resources that we do have available to us. And that has been a major driving force in our year this year. So that was a lot of working together, a lot of looking at what our priorities are. So it's a lot of work. So I'm very proud of that one. I'm very proud that we worked so well together this year. And hopefully that is something that you guys can, if you guys have also tips on how you made your finances work as a couple, then that would be, very welcome. And please introduce those into the comments.
And also, it's also applied with other aspects. If you are what we're trying to say is that once you have a plan with your partner, there's so many things happening, like connections happening, intimacy increase, and communications, getting stronger. And as you look back and overview to the year, that will just, refreshing your memory. Oh, this is what we have achieved as a couple. And as we mentioned, like the very first episode, that, we are 2 cup. And when we make sure our cups is filled, and, we are being filled with all the good stuff. Of course, the bowl that we share together, which is our marriage, will fill with tons of good things. And you're the one that received the fruit of your labor. So for us, this overview of 2023 just reveal us to us like this is how much that we put into the marriage. And yes, it's a lot of work for sure. And but for me, at the end of the year, I get to know Drake even more, like the journey of his growth, my growth, and what can we do as a couple, things that we can achieve with and for a person I can't, as a person I can't do it by myself. So what I try to say is that as you reflect with your partner, we hope that you guys to discover more about each other and stronger the relationship so that gear up for 2024. And if you don't have the plan, that's just okay, totally okay, because it have to start somewhere. So maybe it can be fresh off whatever that your memory from 2023, and then from that, based on that, you can create 2024 in a different way.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say about that is that Rubie also did such a great job of, working with what we have and not, always like not crying out for more, like do more, do this, like because she was just like, hey, this is what we have, and I'm gonna make the most of it, because for those of you, maybe we might have mentioned it in like a previous podcast, but maybe we didn't, but for the most of the year we were on one income. I'd say the almost like probably around like 99% of this year we were on one income, and that hopefully that'll bring a lot of motivation to people that are on two or one and a half, and you're like, oh, we're struggling to make things work. There's so much more that can happen once the partnership becomes integrated and you're working with what you have and making it work as much as you can. So that was, I think, was Rubie's like really great, insight, and her gift was working with what we have and making it go a lot further. And it literally couldn't have been done without her. So we, that is that partnership that comes into play. And hopefully for those of you who are out there who are like, oh yeah, we're on one income too, we're really struggling to make our financial goals. There's ways that you can do it. You're just gonna have to like put your heads together and come up with a plan, come up with a budget, come up with the priorities, cut some things. Like we cut, what was it? Netflix.
Oh yeah.
We cut like so many little things out, and not to say that we live like monks, but we don't. But just what a difference those little things can make. Only going out to eat once a week, boba once a week. All those little rules that we don't always follow them 100%,
no.
but even just trying has made such a significant impact on our finances. So
yeah, and I think we will dive deep into the next episode, well, how to stay on the goal. But I find it very helpful when you are, like every quarter of the year you check back, okay, this is my goal, this is my vision, am I meeting the goals, but we will dive into that the next time. But I hope that you have a really good time reflecting your past year, 2023. Almost there, past, it's still current for us, just a few hours away from it. But it's such a good year, and it's just a lot to take in.
Yeah, certainly a lot. I know for, even just in terms of like world events that happened this year, there's so many things that happened that were just like, oh, wow, what do we have in store for us for next year? And, but I think there's so much growth that's going to be happening for so many people out there. And as we continue to move forward there's just so many great things to come. Especially if we work together and just keep those family bonds strong. So with that, I think we'll sign off, and we'll get into what we have for next week. So we want to thank you guys for tuning in, And want to let you guys actually know our assignment for this week. So for this week, our assignment is we are going to be posting a lot of this material that we are talking about. If you're going to visualize your goals, and if you're going to put your dreams on paper, is the best way that you can actually visualize it, because it's transferred from your mind through your hand onto paper, and you can look at it. So either like Rubie was saying, either a painting, a drawing, and we were just a letter, check note, or a checklist. One of those things are going to really help you. For those of you on the Navy, there, check note, checklist, not check note, and that way you can really visualize and see what's coming up for you in this upcoming year, and then reflect on it in the year's end, and be like, oh wow, we did like 80% of it. That's amazing. But yeah, so that will be our assignment for this week.
And wherever you are, there's only hope for a new year. Your 2023 maybe look like different than us, but what I know that if tomorrow still come, there's still hope coming and waiting for you guys. So wherever you are, we just pray that God will give you blessing and protections, and full of hope and full of strength to continue to dream. Because a lot of people said, like, the moment you die, you just stop dreaming. So keep dreaming, keep hoping, and stay in your vision, stay in your lane. Don't give it up.
Amen to that. That's beautiful. Thank you. All right, and we want to thank you guys for tuning in and making our podcast a part of your wonderful day. We hope that you can take our engaging walk and make it your own.
Stay tuned for the next week episode to discuss the power of goal setting, how to make your dream becomes a reality, align your goal with your vision, understanding the psychology behind achieving your dreams.
Ooh, that's going to be an amazing episode.
That's going to be a lot.
It's going to be so good. So don't forget to subscribe to our podcast so you can stay up to date. And I am Drake.
And this is Rubie from Engaging Walk. We tune in now. Bye.